What's going on, guys? It's your boy Dom Kemp, and today we're back with another podcast. This is probably going to be short and sweet due to the fact that it is an interesting topic, as well as, of course, I just want to let you all know my opinion on these types of sports issues. I am a big NFL fan. I'm a big NBA fan. I'm a big Premier League fan, even though there hasn't been any this year Premier League uploads on this podcasting channel. I'm trying to stick with football and basketball mostly due to the fact that I'm more comfortable explaining to you all and letting you know my opinion. So that's why you're going to be seeing a lot of NFL podcasts this season, as well as NBA podcasts this season as well. Actually, my next podcast is going to be an NBA one regarding Russell Westbrook. So those of you who aren't NFL fans, hey, I got a backup plan for you all. So let's jump straight into it, though. This is a topic of discussion right here. Drew Brees speaks on Baker Mayfield. And you all, it's an interesting topic due to the fact that Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks ever, in my opinion. The most accurate quarterback in the NFL last season with 70%. He broke, I think it was either 72 or 73% passing in a season. He broke a season record in putting that getting that percentage up there. But you all, it's definitely an interesting topic, because if Drew Brees is speaking about Baker Mayfield like he's speaking about him, that is interesting, because we don't know what's going to happen with Tyrod Taylor in week 2, and I believe that Baker Mayfield can start as soon as week 3 or 4. I'm just going to say that. When you're the number 1 draft pick and you're sitting behind a player that you know you can overtake, and that you know you bring a different energy to the locker room and the atmosphere, I would want to start as well. I would definitely want to start as well, you all. But other than that, let's go and read what Drew Brees said about Baker Mayfield. So we're going to start off with this article by Mary Kay Cabot from Cleveland.com. From Berea, Ohio, future Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees, who will face the Browns on Sunday in New Orleans, paid Baker Mayfield the ultimate compliment on Wednesday. And I quote, "I think he can be a lot better than me," Brees said on a conference call. "Man, he's got all the tools. He's more athletic. He probably can run around better." No, Drew, he can run around better. That's my opinion. "He's got a stronger arm. Listen, he's got all the tools." Despite the fact Brees grew up not far from Mayfield, their paths have never crossed. But he followed the Heisman Trophy winner's career at Oklahoma nonetheless, in part because those in the 6-foot and under club stick together. And I quote, "It's funny, to this day I have never spoken with Baker," he said, "but he's from just outside of Austin, Texas, Lake Travis High School, I believe, which is right down the road. I followed his college career, couldn't have been more impressed with what he was able to accomplish in college, especially last year. Really impressed with the way that he plays his game. I think he's a great competitor. I have never met him, so I can't say I know him at all, but that's just my observations from afar. I think he's going to be a real good professional quarterback. I love his competitiveness and his playmaking ability." Saints coach Sean Payton admitted he spent a lot of time studying Mayfield coming out of this year as a possible heir apparent to Brees, who's 39 and in his 18th season. The Saints recently traded for Teddy Bridgewater. "Mayfield's someone that was very impressive," said Payton. "When you track his college career and you see the production, there's a confidence with him. You see real good leadership skills. The thing that was impressive about him in that you could see him move in the pocket and still locate balls down the field, and it wasn't just a take off the scramble. So he hurts you in the pocket, and even with plays that developed a little later." With Mayfield having to wait his turn behind Tyrod Taylor, Brees said he'd advise him, "Man, be just a sponge. As a young player, you try to learn everything you can about the game, and he gets to play behind a seasoned veteran like he gets to play behind a Tyrod Taylor, who started a bunch of games in this league and won a bunch of games that led Buffalo to the playoffs last year. He gets to play for a coordinator like Todd Haley, who's a longtime coordinator and been a head coach, coached Big Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh for the last number of years, going up against a defense like Greg Williams every day in practice. Greg does a lot of good things defensively, has been a great defensive coordinator in this league for a long time, so he's got the opportunity to learn from a lot of good resources there. Brees admitted he takes pride in paving the way for a 6-foot QB such as Mayfield to be drafted number 1 overall. You know, when I came in the league, my rookie year was in San Diego in 2001, and Doug Flutie was the starting quarterback. He said, so you talk about a guy who has overcome the odds every step of the way with his size and preconceived notions people had about his ability to play the position. He played 20 years of professional football at every level, USFL, NFL, and CFL. Then back to the NFL and played at a very, very high level. So I had the chance to learn from one of the absolute best in my opinion, especially when it came to just having to, at times, just make plays because of your size and maybe certain limitations. He would get the job done, so I had a chance to learn from a guy like that, and I owe him a lot of credit. We call it in the 6-foot and under club, all the 6-foot guys we think of know what it's like. We kind of have the chip on our shoulder because we've heard it our whole life. I just kind of chuckle at it. Maybe it is something, maybe it isn't, but it gives us an edge. Is Mayfield now a member of the club? Well, is he 6 foot and under? 6'5/8", he was told. All right, well, that counts, he said. He's in the club. So an interesting topic of discussion right there. Drew Brees speaking out on the rookie quarterback Baker Mayfield, number 1 overall drafted in the 2018 NFL draft this season. Now, it calls for a lot of concern. This is what I'll say. If Tyrod Taylor plays how he played against Pittsburgh, yes, I know that the weather conditions were rainy and just sloppy and all that crazy stuff. But if he plays how he plays against Pittsburgh these upcoming weeks, do not be surprised if Baker Mayfield starts. And the reason I say that is I am a big Baker Mayfield fan. I have a Baker Mayfield Oklahoma jersey sitting in my closet. And literally, I started watching him last season. I just started watching him last season because I wasn't able to watch a lot of college football in high school. I wasn't able to watch a lot of college football in high school. But now that I'm out of high school, I have a lot of opportunity to see what's going on and what's happening in the college football world as well as the professional world in each basketball and football. But it's interesting because Baker Mayfield's one of those players that, in a way, he reminds me of how I played soccer in the sense of this. I'm not comparing myself to Baker Mayfield. It's two separate sports, okay? He reminds me of how he has that competitive edge, that drive, and he wants to be the best leader he can be. I wanted to be that starting from freshman year all the way up into senior year of high school. Whether it was in basketball, whether it was in soccer. In flag football, I was that guy. I was a wide receiver and talking like a quarterback in flag football in elementary school. And I have that spirit that I want the best out of everybody, especially myself. And I feel that Baker Mayfield, he's that type of player. He's like Tim Tebow. And here's where I say he's like Tim Tebow. First and foremost, he's more accurate than Tim Tebow. But his passion, his competitive drive, his edge, his height even, he just does the job. He doesn't care how it plays out in the end as long as he gets the W. He is satisfied. And I love that about a quarterback because you don't see that often in the NFL. Yes, you have players like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and all of them, Russell Wilson even, who have that edge, but they don't necessarily have a team about them. And they, yes, many of them make players around them better. Like, great example, Aaron Rodgers, he makes players around him better. But with Baker Mayfield, it's a special thing. And I'm telling you all, I will not be shocked if he starts at least week 3. But at the latest, week 6. And the reason I say that, this is his team. You're the number 1 overall draft pick in the NFL draft. You're not going to be sitting behind a quote-unquote starting quarterback for long. I understand what Tyrod Taylor did with the Buffalo Bills and things of that sort. That's what I said in my last podcast. But Baker Mayfield's going to add that fire that Cleveland has been needing, that Cleveland has been sitting and waiting for. And Baker Mayfield is that. And I believe he's better than Johnny Manziel. He's more accurate than players who had the competitive edge but weren't accurate throwing the ball than Tim Tebow. He has those qualities that make you want to play with him. And that is something I definitely love about Baker Mayfield. If you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know your opinion on Baker Mayfield and when he should be starting or when he does start. How do you feel he's going to fare against the NFL competition? He had a good preseason. Not bad at all. But it's literally like he's that type of player that you want as a teammate, because if you don't have him as a teammate, he will run you over, one, or he will make you pay due to the fact that he will do anything and everything to win. That's what I love about Baker Mayfield. And I didn't necessarily want to turn this podcast into what I love about Baker Mayfield, what he's going to do, but it pretty much turned into that because Drew Brees is literally speaking truth right here. And when a seasoned veteran like Drew Brees, who's 39 years old and has been in the league for 18 years now, speaks that highly on a number 1 overall draft pick, who, of course, is pretty much the same height as him, has the same traits pretty much as Drew Brees and as players like Russell Wilson and Tim Tebow and Johnny Manziel. He has that swagger to him that literally is like, if you're not on my team, I'm going to beat you no matter what. Of course, within the rules, but I'm going to beat you. And that's how Tim Tebow was. He didn't care how he won the game. He just wanted to win the game. And that's the main thing about having a quarterback with that attitude and that adjustment to the NFL. But it's going to be interesting. He brings that college swagger to the NFL. I'm telling you all, watch out. Baker Mayfield will be a problem for anybody and everybody. But other than that, thank you so much for listening to this Dominic Reads. Like and subscribe, you all. You all are awesome. You've been supporting this podcast channel with 50 subscribers, so I definitely appreciate it. I will be back with one more podcast later on with some NBA news for Oklahoma City Thunder fans, so definitely stay tuned for that if you are interested in the NBA offseason and stuff like that. But other than that, thank you so much for listening to this Dominic. I was about to say something else. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Let me know your thoughts and comments about Drew Brees and what he said about Baker Mayfield in the comments down below. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace, guys. Yeah.